What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a chat about a brand new card game, trading card game, which has gone and been announced. It's a Cyberpunk TCG, and it's one that I'm getting a little bit excited about. There is quite a lot going on here, which I think looks kind of awesome, and I'd like to have a chat about all of this. Now, I will say it is slightly confusing. This was actually kind of revealed recently, a couple of weeks ago, and there wasn't really any information whatsoever, so I held off for the time being on actually covering this. But at the time, when I googled around for Cyberpunk TCG, what I actually found was a Kickstarted Cyberpunk TCG. Now, there is Cyberpunk Legends, which is currently on Kickstarter, the official Cyberpunk co-op card game, which is not this. This is a fully fledged TCG. But it is launching on Kickstarter, and that does worry me a little bit. I'll explain a bit more later in the video. But the reveal trailer, the hype trailer came out today, and absolutely make no mistake, this is Cyberpunk 2077, the video game. That is what they're going for here, and there were just a bunch of clips from the video game that were actually used in the hype trailer. There was no ifs, no buts, no maybes, no mucking about. It was full on, yo, this is a card game that links in with the video game, which is good because I've been meaning to play the video game for a while, and now I've just got an incredibly good reason to do so. Now, there have been some interviews with places like IGN going up, which have also made it quite clear that Edge Runners, the anime from Netflix in the same universe, is also going to be featured. The hype trailer really did focus in on the video game, but we are told that Edge Runners is also going to be featured, so that's kind of awesome as well. I've not watched Edge Runners. Does anybody want to guess what is going to be very high on my to-do list as soon as I finish playing Cyberpunk 2077? Yeah, I'm going to go watch me some Edge Runners. I'm going to go deep on this. This sounds awesome. Why am I excited about the game? Well, firstly, it is based around a pretty big property. I don't think Cyberpunk is quite on the level of something like One Piece, Pokemon, Disney, or even Star Wars. But I do think it is a hot property right now. The video game is amazing. Edge Runners has got nothing but amazing reviews. We know there's more Cyberpunk coming in the video game realm. And just look at the artwork. Honestly here, look at the art and tell me you can look at this without getting a little bit hyped for the game. Because I'm telling you, I'm looking at this and I'm getting a little bit hyped for the game. This is making me quite happy indeed. Now, there are a bunch of questions to which we don't have answers. So, in terms of gameplay, we don't know. And honestly, like, take a look at Dying Light V's pistol, right? This is a card that was shown off. Love the artwork. It's a weapon. Presumably a 2 cost. Presumably you get +2 attack. And it's for mercs. But then it says if you've got a 7+ street cred, defeat a rival gear card that costs 2 or less. Well, that kind of makes sense to me. Look at your opponents, all of their gear, which I'm assuming weapon counts because look at the top right-hand corner, it says gear. And then if they've got something which has got a 2 or a 1 or a 0 in the top left-hand corner, then you get to put it in the discard pile. But street cred? Is that the win condition? Is that a peripheral mechanic that helps you achieve some other win condition? No idea. Why would we know by now? Why would we know that? We don't have this information. The rules, and they've been quite clear. People making this game, and it is interesting because the game is being launched by a company that don't have a track record when it comes to trading card games. I don't say that as anything negative, but it is coming from Weirdco, and we cover a lot of card games on this channel, a lot of TCGs, every new TCG that comes out. I haven't shown you a Weirdco TCG. I've never done that. They don't have a big track record of TCGs. Is that a negative? Not necessarily. But it's also not a positive, whereas if we're talking about a company with a long history of producing TCGs, then that can absolutely be seen as a big positive. But it does mean that we're probably not going to have a whole bunch of tropes that we're used to. When you see a new card game from an established card game studio, it's fair to say that we're probably going to see a lot of the things that they have shown us before. That's not the case when we got a brand new company without a track record. It means they can do things a little bit differently. And that alone makes me pretty gosh darned excited. So to go back to what I was saying a second ago, we don't have news about rules or any of that. What we do have is a Kickstarter which is coming soon. I will pop a link in the description here so you can go and check it out. But my advice to you guys, go and follow at least. And the reason you should go and follow is because if you follow and then you do decide to back, then you get yourself the exclusive Lucy card. And if you don't decide to back, well, that's fine. But if you change your mind later and back at the last minute and you're too late to get the Lucy card, you'll feel a little bit silly. So I would suggest quite strongly go and have a look. But here, it's a legend card and there's a ×2 in the top right-hand corner and then it says overclocking on it. What that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't have the information. I'm sorry. We do know that there's going to be different treatments of the same cards, which is very much a standard TCG thing, but it's nice to have it confirmed. Have a look at Tsuburo Arasaka here, Stubborn Patriarch, and you'll notice we've already been shown 2 versions of the same card. Gives your Arasaka units +1 power when attacking. And units steal an extra gig for every 10 power. What does that mean? We don't know. Do note that this has very much a green border, whereas the card I showed you just a moment ago had a lovely blue border. I'm not entirely convinced that's a coincidence, if I'm honest with you. So, there's a lot we don't know here. Why am I hyped about the game? The cards look awesome. Genuinely, legitimately awesome. The artwork is stunning. Cyberpunk is a really strong property. And it's little things like the social media guy, who I've been chatting to a little bit about this game, is a Disney Lorcana caster. They are a competitive TCG player who's come over from another game and been like, trust me, this game looks awesome. When real hardcore TCG players are telling me this game is something we should be watching out for, that makes me sit up and take notice, because that probably means it's something we should be watching out for. And the people that run Weirdco are TCG players, that is also something we should be getting arguably a little bit excited about. There are lots of things in this game that we should be a little bit psyched for. But I've got to hit you with a negative now, and I can only apologise. But the fact that it's launching as a Kickstarter game really spooks me. Because the problem is, traditionally, and I am not saying it is the case here, I do not know the inner workings of the business, I don't know. But traditionally, when it comes to trading card games specifically, it has been when companies just do not have the resources to launch a card game themselves, so they are hedging their bets. For instance, the re-release of Keyforge, when that came back, that was done as a Kickstarter because Ghost Galaxy just were not willing or weren't able to really put everything they needed to into the game to make it successful. And the fact that Keyforge has not become a player in the TCG sphere probably tells you about what you need to know. Similarly, we could look at Altered, which was being published by Asmodee and is now being published just on Kickstarter. And that is not a good sign. Altered very much seems to be on the way out. And there's other games that I have covered on this channel. Like Neverrift is a game I am incredibly fond of. Love that game. But has anyone noticed that doing much in the TCG arena lately? The answer is no. And it's not because it's not a good game with good mechanics, it's because Kickstarter TCGs generally tend to be a little bit lower yield. And that makes perfect sense because, if I'm going for a Kickstarter TCG, if I don't have the cards I need to build my deck or I want to build a new deck, well, if the cards aren't being sold in shops and the Kickstarter's over, that makes it really awkward to try and get new cards. Of course, and I cannot stress this enough, number one, I am very excited, that's why I'm making this video. And number two, just because it's launching on Kickstarter doesn't mean it's only a Kickstarter game. Doesn't mean there's not going to be a wider release down the line. This is information that right now we don't have. So what I'm going to say to you, lovely ladies and gentlemen, is hang fire, see where they go. On a personal level, I am extremely excited about this game. I think the game looks awesome. I am concerned about it being a Kickstarter TCG because that is not the model that any successful TCG is using right now. But again, we don't know the future plans, so as with everything, take it with a pinch of salt. But when you've got a license this strong, cards that look this stunning, and TCG veterans telling us, no, seriously, you need to be paying attention to this game, well, that kind of makes me think we should be sitting up and taking notice. And I am. And like I say, I will pop a link to the Kickstarter in the description here so that you can go and sign up. And all you're doing is following it at this point to get the updates. But it means if you do back, you get the Lucy card later. This is not a sponsored video. I'm getting no kickback for saying this. But come on, it just makes sense now, doesn't it? So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me if you're hyped for a Cyberpunk 2077 card game. Tell me if you're worried about it being a Kickstarter game. Tell me if you've got room in your life for another card game. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking at this one today, and I think I can squeeze one more game in. Let me know where you come down in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @LeWasi. That's where we talk about, well, apparently Cyberpunk 2077 and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.